A normal day on The Price is Right. Then a college student dropped a Plinko chip and hit $10,000. She did it 2 more times. But before she could drop her 4th chip, everything went dark. A producer grabbed the chip midair and yelled, "The game is fixed." The audience froze in shock. For 15 minutes, nobody spoke. This secret disaster nearly destroyed America's favorite game show forever, and CBS fought desperately to keep it hidden. In 1956, Bob Stewart was working at WRCA-TV in New York City. One day during lunch, he walked down 50th Street and saw a live auction on the sidewalk. The excitement of people bidding gave him an idea. What if there was a game show where people guessed prices? He called the idea the auctioneer. Stewart was already experienced in TV and radio. He had worked at WNEW and NBC. Soon after, he ran into Monty Hall, who would later become a well-known host. Paul introduced Stewart to Goodson Todman Productions and asked, "You got any ideas?" That meeting led to The Price is Right. The show aired its first episode on NBC on November 26, 1956, with Bill Cullen as host. The pilot was a disaster. During filming, Cullen accidentally crashed into a wall because a stagehand missed a cue. NBC had already bought the show before seeing the pilot, which was common in the 1950s. After the accident, the network tried to cancel it and even offered money to drop it, but Stewart and Bill Todman refused. They believed in the show and forced NBC to keep their deal. It was a smart move. In the late 1950s, American game shows were in trouble. A cheating scandal broke out in 1958 when a Doto contestant found a notebook with answers meant for another player. That moment sparked an investigation. Soon it was clear that several quiz shows were rigged. The most famous case was Charles Van Doran on 21, who had been coached and given answers in advance. By 1960, most big-money quiz shows were gone. Congressional hearings and new laws forced networks to clean up. But The Price is Right didn't go down with the rest. It started on NBC on November 26, 1956. The format was simple. Contestants guessed prices of everyday items without going over. There was no way to cheat. Bill Cullen hosted. Don Partardo announced. Viewers loved it. It grew fast, and by fall 1957, it had a prime-time version. It also became the first game show broadcast in color. While others were pulled from the air, The Price is Right gained more trust. People saw it as honest. That made it even more popular during a time when audiences felt betrayed. In 1963, ratings dropped and NBC led the show. ABC stepped in quickly. On September 9, 1963, the show moved to their network. They made some changes. Johnny Gilbert replaced Don Partardo. Celebrity guests joined the show and played for random audience members, but the core idea stayed the same. Guess the price. Don't go over. Behind the scenes, Lever Brothers, now Unilever, was the main sponsor. They used the show to promote products like Imperial Margarine, Whisk Detergent, and Handy Andy Cleaner. Their Dove Beauty Bar stood out. Contestants were given Dove bars every week, even if they didn't win. It was smart advertising. Dove grew into a major global brand. In 2022, the company reduced the bar size from 100g to 90, but kept prices the same or higher. Despite efforts to keep it fresh, the show's original run ended on September 3, 1965. The primetime version had already been canceled in 1964. The daytime version lasted 1 more year. One strange problem was how good viewers became at guessing prices. The Home Viewer Showcase invited people to send in their answers by mail. By 1959, one prize package had a 32-way perfect tie. Producers had to sort through sacks of mail and settle it by telegram and phone. It became too much to manage. After disappearing from television for 7 years, The Price is Right came back on September 4, 1972. This time it looked and felt completely different. CBS brought it back as The New Price is Right. They got rid of the old quiz format and built something fresh. Now the focus was on guessing the price of everyday items. The idea was simple. Contestants bid in whole dollars and couldn't go over the actual price. It started as a short 30-minute show with just 3 pricing games. But that was enough. It didn't take long for it to catch on. By June 1973, They dropped the word new from the title. The show had found its voice. It felt real. It felt fair. It was a game anyone could play. You didn't need to be smart or quick. You just needed to know what things cost. That's why it worked. At a time when people still remembered the game show cheating scandals of the 1950s, The Price is Right felt honest. The show also gave us something unforgettable. In 1972, announcer Johnny Olson shouted something that changed everything. He said, "Come on down." That simple phrase became part of American culture. Every time he said it, the audience lit up. People jumped from their seats, screamed, clapped, hugged strangers, and ran toward the stage. It was loud. It was chaotic. It was exciting. Over time, people started practicing their reactions at home. Some did cartwheels, others danced or cried. In later years, the show even played old clips showing people being carried to the front or falling down in shock. All of it started with those 3 words. Then came another big change. On December 1, 1975, the show doubled in length. Some reports say the move may have started as early as November 3, but either way, this was a big deal. CBS turned The Price is Right into a 1-hour show. That gave them room for 6 pricing games instead of 3. It also gave them time for something brand new, the Showcase Showdown. That's when the big wheel was introduced. The wheel had 20 segments. It went from 5 cents to exactly $1 in 5-cent steps. Contestants spun the wheel and tried to get as close as possible to $1 without going over. If they landed on exactly $1, they won a bonus. From December 1975 to June 1978, that bonus was $1,000. Later, the prize went up and extra bonus spins were added. The wheel was designed to build tension. The segments were measured and weighted just right. It looked like the dollar was always within reach, but still hard to get. It made those moments unforgettable. Bob Barker was the man who held it all together. He started hosting the show on September 4, 1972. He stayed until June 15, 2007. That's exactly 6,586 episodes. At first, he was also hosting Truth or Consequences, but The Price is Right became his life. In March 1988, after the death of executive producer Frank Wayne, Barker took on even more. He became the executive producer. He helped design games and even created The Price is Right $1 Million Spectacular, a special version of the show that aired in primetime. Barker also became known for something else. At the end of every episode, he gave the same message. He said, "Help control the pet population. Have your pets spayed or neutered." It became part of the show's legacy. Millions of viewers heard those words every day. When Barker retired in 2007, CBS took a chance. They picked comedian Carey as the new host. Carr's first episode aired in October 2007. At first, longtime fans were unsure. Barker had been calm and classy. Carey was more relaxed and casual, but over time, Carey found his rhythm. As of now, he has hosted more than 3,269 episodes. He kept the show's core the same. He respected history, but he brought his own style and humor. In an interview with People magazine, Carey said, "No matter how my day is, as Sue." On October 23, 2024, The Price is Right aired what fans quickly called one of its worst showcase rounds in years. The 2 finalists, Anna and Luis, had made it all the way to the end. But when the curtain lifted, what they saw didn't match the moment. The first showcase offered trips to New Orleans, Iceland, and Ireland. Nice destinations on their own, but longtime viewers noticed something missing. No beach, no tropical paradise, not even a luxury resort. The second showcase didn't help either. It included a set of diamond jewelry, a sound system, and a Mitsubishi Mirage. That car, according to fans online, was the cheapest ever featured on the show. Anna looked crushed on camera. And it wasn't just her. Social media exploded. Viewers accused the producers of cutting corners, trying to save money ahead of the show's 10th episode in February 2025. Some called it a betrayal of the game's legacy. Others just called it lazy. Either way, the damage was done. The showcase had let people down. That wasn't the only controversy that season. In another episode, longtime announcer Rich Fields made a simple mistake. While describing a prize package, he called an HP computer a Dell. Harmless, right? Not on this show. The Price is Right as a strict rule. If a prize is described incorrectly, the contestant gets whatever was announced, not what was actually shown. That one-word slip cost the show thousands of dollars. And it came with a twist. The contestant had overbid by nearly $5,000. Under normal rules, that would have disqualified them. But because of the error, the prize had to be awarded anyway. This wasn't just a fluke. It showed how tightly the show operates. Every word, every product, every price, everything has to be perfect. One small mistake can throw everything off and cost real money. But the biggest shock often comes after the game. Contestants may leave the stage smiling, but reality hits once the tax letter arrives. Every prize on the show is taxed based on its full retail value. And it all starts with California state taxes. The money is due before the contestant can even touch their prize. That moment of joy can turn into panic. In 2013, schoolteacher Carey won a $157,300 Audi R8 Spider. At the time, it was the most expensive prize in the show's history. Then came the bill. She owed $12,000 to California, another $14,915 to her home state of Washington, and $34,453 to the IRS. That's over $61,000 in taxes. Contestants can't take a cash alternative. It's the prize or nothing. Many winners just walk away. Back in 2008, something happened that changed the show forever. A retired weatherman named Carey placed a showcase bid of exactly $23,743. He hit the number down to the last dollar. The prizes were a karaoke machine, a pool table, and a 17-foot camper. When the total was revealed, production came to a halt. For 45 minutes, no one moved. Behind the scenes, producers were convinced it had to be a cheat. One of them, Kathy Greco, actually ran off stage in disbelief. Host Drew Carey wasn't thrilled either. Later, he admitted he was furious and announced the win through clenched teeth. But Nya insisted there was no trick. He had memorized pricing patterns and used numbers with personal meaning. His wedding date and his wife's birth month. After a full investigation, the show cleared him. Still, producers didn't want it